AITA for telling a friend she'd settle for a penis and a pulse after she shamed my standards? I, F20, have a close friend, F22. She asked why I was still single. I haven't been dating since I was 18, after leaving a relationship of 5 years. Upon me telling her I wasn't interested in dating right now, she said, "So basically, you can't find anyone." I brushed past it, not wanting any arguments. She later asked what I'd look for in a guy. As I told her, and my basic standards would be, respect goes both ways, just versus the problem, not me versus you. Likes dogs, I have 3, so, obvious reasons, general good hygiene, decent level of fitness, not necessarily aesthetic. I'm heavily into the gym and fitness, so I want someone to match this, ideally, driven, and hardworking, i.e., has a goal/drive of what they want to do with their life. I told her exactly as written above, and she's burst out laughing. I was a little confused, and asked what was up. She told me that, I'm never going to find a guy, because I'm asking far too much. If I were to lower my standards, I'd find a lovely guy. The only standard should be compatibility. If I did, I wouldn't be alone for the rest of my life, because that's where I'm heading. I told her that without standards, we'd accept any sort of treatment, and I didn't think they were unreasonable. Later that evening, my brother messaged me, with a screenshot from Tinder with my photos, and my profile, asking whether it was me, as I assumed due to similar ages and location, we'd matched. I don't like the idea of dating apps at all, and my family know this. It was a whole lot of back and forth. Turns out the friend made a dating profile on my behalf to find a good guy for me. I was absolutely fuming, and made it clear to her. She told me she was helping me out and knew what was good for me as a friend. Besides, if I post photos on Instagram, why is it different to Tinder? I told her that, just because all she looks for is a penis and a pulse, it doesn't mean that I do. She's blocked me on all platforms, and won't take the profile down. Update in comments same day. Turns out, Tinder isn't the only profile she's made. My brother and I are searching now so they can be reported. But, we found numerous dating profiles, Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. All with the exact same description and photos. I'm slightly panicking now, because I think it's gone way too far. How's the best way to go about it? Like, this woman knows everything about me, family, home address, workplace, etc. What are you going to do? I'm staying over at my brother's tonight, bless him, he's got me and the 3 dogs in his one-man apartment. The accounts we've found have been reported, and she's not aware of where my brother lives, etc., so I shouldn't be in any immediate danger, just a little scared about it all. If it hasn't blown over by the morning, I think I'm going to call and see what they advise. Update, same post April 8, 2023, next day. Further updates plus second AITAH question. Thank you so much for everyone's lovely responses. I'm so overwhelmed at the response. You guys are my lifeline at the moment, smiley face. We later found several more accounts, current count at 22, all containing the same photos and desk. The latest, we know of, dating 5 weeks ago. The night I posted this, I stayed over at my brother's, and neighbors informed me 2 separate cars pulled up in the middle of the night. So, she's been sharing my address since. Someone on here advised to get security cameras, to monitor whilst I'm not home, obviously, and in the space of 6 hours, 14 men showed up at my home. It's absolutely FING mental. Especially as I've got no idea what she's telling these men. It has the possibility of getting very, very dangerous, quickly. On the police/lawyer front, she's definitely against the law. But, until we have direct evidence that she's sending the men to my address, i.e. message from her to one of the men, she can't be charged with harassment. Lawyer seems sure we'll win the case, though, on the basis of harassment, identity theft and defamation, possible, with up to 8 months jail time. Would I be the asshole if I pressed full charges against her? I think there's still that element of, what if she was trying to help, though to be honest, I doubt it. Update April 8. Wow. Thank you so much for the amount of thoughtful, kind and informative responses from everyone. You guys have quite literally been my lifeline through this. I apologize for a late update, it's been an unbelievably hectic day. To start, cameras were installed in the late morning, before we spoke to the police or lawyer. I've just got to my brother's, and have been checking through the footage. 14 separate cars. She sent 14 effin' men to my address, for God knows what. I watched up until about 4 p.m., and to be honest, I'd seen all I needed to see, and gave up watching. Police and lawyer both had similar advice. So, the general consensus was that it's definitely against the law, obviously, with the sharing of address. However, the lawyer mentioned that there'd be a high chance of winning the case, as she doesn't really have a leg to stand on, with evidence provided. It would go under harassment, identity theft and, perhaps, defamation. However, he said it's likely she'd be arrested in terms of harassment for up to 6 months. Though, one thing he did mention was that the biggest evidence we could get towards harassment is screenshots of the messages of someone who actually turns up at the address, in order to prove the harassment and her are related. So, we've got a little group of us together, myself, my brother, 2 friends of his, and a friend of mine, and we're staying at my house for a few hours tonight to speak to anyone who shows up. We're hoping that they'll give us a hand, and give us some info on exactly what's been happening, from their side, along with any messages that have been shared. That's the plan, anyway. A lovely hotel near where I live, the manager, messaged my brother after seeing the post about what's been going on, allowing myself and the dogs to stay for the next week or so, tomorrow night, as they're fully booked tonight. So, thankfully, we've got somewhere to go for a little while. You guys have really helped keep my mind off what's been going on, and I'm so thankful for your concern and support. Thank you a million times over. Update 4, April 9th, 2023. Potential TW for blood. So, last night was nothing short of unsuccessful. For anyone who didn't see it, a group of us were waiting at the house with a note on the door, trying to gather evidence from the messages etc. It's ended with a massively swollen jaw, and cracked one of my back teeth in half. All good this morning, just pretty sore. Just to prevent this post getting too long and AITA rules, if you follow my account, I'll be posting further updates over there, if you're interested. You guys have really helped keep my mind off what's been going on, and I'm so thankful for your concern and support. Thank you a million times over. For everyone concerned, the doggies and myself are all good, just a little frightened about it all, but we've just got to keep our fingers crossed, eh? We'll keep the thread updated, smiley face. Details on the attack TW for blood. I'm okay now. I was up the hospital for a little while last night, as I was worried it was something to do with my jaw, but thankfully, they don't think so, and my teeth have taken most of the damage, so just a little knocked up. So, the sign on the door said, if you're here to see my name, you've been catfished by a woman using her photos and name to harass her. I'm currently collecting evidence against her, and I'd really appreciate if you have any messages from her you could show us. If you're not comfortable, please give my brother's number a call. Anyway, a car pulled up and left about 5 minutes later, no luck there. But, after an hour or so, 9:30, maybe, a guy knocked at the door. I just assumed he was coming to help. I kind of thanked him, and began to explain what was going on, but he grabbed the side of the shoulder, and pushed me towards the corner of the porch. It's fairly small. He's still pinning me into the corner at this point, so I'm pushing off, and screaming for the others in the house with me. He punched smack bang over the right side of my face. I'm so thankful it wasn't my nose. But, blood was streaming out of my mouth, from the tooth, so I ran over to the kitchen, whilst my brother and his mates were trying to sort it. The friend that was with me called the police. I don't really remember what happened afterwards. I think it was a bit of shock. But, everyone else was unscathed, so I don't think he was there too long. Safe to say we won't be doing that again. Uneasy face. The responses from the AITA was absolutely overwhelming. Thank you so much. However, due to how the situation escalated, I think it went beyond AITA territory, and so, any further updates can be found on here. Thank you so much. You guys have quickly become my lifeline. Alright, I'll start at the most significant, though it's a little tied. The psycho friend, can we call her Olivia, for the purpose of making updates easier. Anyway, Olivia's sister, been in contact with my brother, and later, her family informing them of the situation, rang me up this evening, and said she got my number from my brother. There was a bit of awkward small talk, sorry this is happening, etc. But, she mentioned a friend of Olivia's had visited Olivia, after seeing the posts from the sister. If that makes sense, I'm sorry, it's been a lot today. She said that, the friend, was really concerned about Olivia, and seemed emotionally unstable, bursting out into tears etc. She said she'd completely dyed her hair. She's normally blonde, dyed to dark brown, had an effing tattoo done of a tulip, emotional significance to me, and was saying she desperately needed money for liposuction, fat removal, and breast reduction, and was pleading with the friend that visited, saying it was urgent. Let's just have a think, and see who that sounds an awful lot like? Dark hair, check. Tattoo of a tulip on my calf, check. Small boobs, check. Skinny, check. This woman is trying to fucking copy my entire life. So, the sister of Olivia asked the friend where she was staying, obviously concerned for the welfare of her sister, and the friend won't say anything about it. The sister lives out of town, and can't get hold of her, at all. And, the sister won't tell me who the friend was that visited her. Helpful, right? On the positive note, the police are holding the guy in custody ATM. They were able to pick up the reg from one of the neighbor's security cams, and I'd assume, traced it to an address or something. Anyway, they rang earlier, confirming details of my description, and it matches both the security footage and my desk. They haven't told me any more than the guy is being held at the moment. On another positive-ish note, my brother finally gets a bit of space back. The hotel invited myself, and the dogs, to stay for the next week, tonight being our first night. I've made it very clear to the hotel that no info can be disclosed that I'm staying there etc., and they've agreed. She's read the fake profile, messages on the dating site, and hasn't responded. Thank you for all your concern, guys, beyond appreciative. Fingers crossed. The attorney has advised that it'll be okay to keep a log on social media, as long as it remains anon for the friend, myself and anyone else involved. Police took down the friend's number that I have her under, but apparently weren't able to find any message exchange relating, and believe she's using a separate number. Just waiting to hear back from a few of the sites, now, and hopefully we can find the number. Thank you so much for your concern, I really do appreciate it. Can you guys make fake profiles to try to catch her in the act? The issue we were having with doing that was that in majority of the sites where she's responsive, where it says she's active etc., are companies that require a photo to sign up. Now, if it's any of my friends, or brother, she's likely to catch on. However, if we were to use a random photo of someone else, I think we'd end up being legally implicated for identity fraud, especially since a lawyer is involved. After speaking to some of my friends outside of the country, most said that she'd sent them a friend request 2 or 3 months ago. It just seems so weird, and obsessive, that it's something she's been planning for a while. Because really, why is she requesting family/friends of mine, who live hundreds of miles away, and I've never even mentioned them to her? Thank you for your input. Asterisk people ask her what she does for work asterisk. I mean, I've got a ordinary day-to-day job. I work in a local coffee shop. I've done a few modeling gigs over past 2 years, mainly fitness-based clothing etc., and they were pretty successful, but it wasn't worth the heavy dieting for it. I haven't modeled in the past 6 months at all, though. The last, small, job I did was last October. Asterisk someone says she is lying because she posted elsewhere she has done sex work asterisk. I have done sex work in the past, which is why I left it out of the thread, as you've mentioned. I didn't want it to be a case of, what did you expect if you're doing that, as it wasn't relevant to this situation, the friend isn't aware of it, as I use a different name etc. If you don't believe it, don't, it doesn't affect me. But, I'm not sure why anyone would make up some elaborate story for the sake of what? Thanks, smiley face. Hey there. Following on from a recent AITA post, so I won't go into details here, I've got a heavily swollen jaw, and either the completely loss of a back tooth, or almost completely cracked. I was up in the hospital last night, and they advised seeing a dentist about the tooth, but gave me numbing injections in my gum and my jaw. However, my jaw is on a complete tilt, if that makes sense? I want to say swelling is maybe the size of half a tennis ball off my jaw/low cheek. Is there anything I can do to help it? I can barely talk without heavy pain, sad face. Thanks. We made a dating profile with one of my brother's mates, who doesn't really know me, so chances are, she won't have found him. So, technically it's not exactly fake. I did ask her sister whether she had any history with that sort of thing, but she said it was so out of the blue, and never shown any signs. Wonder whether she's trying to cover her own ass though. We've been sent over the chat log from one of the dating sites, and it's absolutely horrendous. However, she forwards them onto a separate number, multiple different ones, to arrange to meet. The worst part, though, things I've told her that have happened in my life, like for instance, my aunt being diagnosed with cancer, she's echoing the same things that have happened in my life off to these men. This thing has been going for far longer than my brother and I assumed. I spoke to my mum last night, she lives in Australia, so we don't see her very often. I was telling her about what was going on, and she said she spoke to her 4, maybe 5 months ago. The friend told my mum that she was arranging a photo wall for my 20th, and asked whether she had any childhood photos, and any pictures she had of me to use. She also asked for my mum's address to mail any photos from the day to her. This, obviously, absolute bullshit, but I wonder whether she wanted the address to confirm I wouldn't go live with my mum? I don't know. My mum never mentioned anything, as it was meant to be a surprise, apparently, and she'd forgotten all about it afterwards. Off to speak to the lawyer about it this afternoon, keep fingers crossed for us. Apologies it took so long, update here. Update 3, is it? Firstly, apologies for not updating. I wanted to make sure the info was correct, so there'd be no speculation with what was going on. The friend has been arrested since last update. As suspected by many, she was encouraging CNC. Editor's note, I believe this is consensual non-consent, a kink. From the message with the guy that attacked me, she told him that she's cheating on her boyfriend, and he found that she won on dating sites. So, she had to lie and say that it was a catfish, which might explain why the sign was ignored. Lawyer thinks she'll be taken in for psychological examinations. I'm not sure what's happening with the guy that attacked me, but I'm tentative to push for charges against him if he really did believe her lie about the catfish. But really, how stupid can you be? Still men turning up at the house, so I plan to move to the coast in the next couple of weeks. The sister ended up lying to the police, telling them that she'd never spoken to me. So, I think she received a warning for false info to police? I think that's all. Oh. And thank you to everyone asking about my jaw. Swelling is down, just bruised, smiley face. Lots of love and hugs to all, smiley face.